Live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105. I like my life sweet, tastes like irony. But that's the reason that they vex my nigga. Heavy as the head, but forget my nigga. Crown done they bend from the stress, my nigga. It's getting hard to suppress my liquor. So I'm drinking more wine. I 4:30. I'd rather be online than out with company. Man, I'm turning on my mind. The thoughts are too heavy. Cause life is no joke. We cope with comedy. I really know they see your face. That's why we switch lanes. No, they indicate. Everybody won't blow. Who they pick the date? God, when will I be the one they imitate? But most times I feel no one can relate. When there's no time, there's no energy. I'm just running, running, running. Sweet white wine, 'cause there's no energy. I'm just running, running on vibes. There's no time, there's no energy. I'm just running, running, running. Sweet white wine, 'cause there's no energy. I'm just running, running on vibes. Afrobeats on that bangolo. I took that shit international. I ain't living until it's time to go. Galloping like I'm an antelope. Ooh, I took it personal. Lone soldier, me and the stand alone. Me and the fight for my envelope. But me and no fit to the fight alone. Ooh, and you don't have to, bro. What's a vaccine to an antidote? Blood, sweat, tears in my engine, though. If you smell success, that's my cologne. Broke almost every code. Still I got fans filling every row. This anointing from the microphone. And that's on God, only heaven knows. There's no time, there's no energy. I'm just running, running, running. Sweet white wine.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Tony.
Montserrat, Homie,
and I want everyone in Liberia to know that I love
and
listening
everywhere you go. This is ABC Radio 105.1
live
FM.
from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105.1 FM.
Montserrat, Homie, Cape Mount, Papalu, Mangibi, Boom, and everywhere you go. This is ABC Radio 105.1 FM.
live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105.1 FM.
live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105.1 FM.
live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105.1 FM.
Okay, welcome. I guess whenever you hear this theme song played every 6:15, 6:16, you know exactly what time it is. It's time to talk traffic related issues. It's time to enlighten our drivers. bring them to the consciousness of doing the right thing within the traffic, changing those old habits of their driving practices, and applying new principles and driving patterns. So welcome to it right here, another edition. Matter of fact, a very great edition. It's Tuesday, and Tuesday today is the 25th day within the 4th month, and it's 2022. The program is Traffic Talk, a regular feature being brought to you through the kind courtesy of the program department of the Atlantic Broadcasting Corporation. A program designed to speak to the consciousness of our motorists, that includes drivers, keke, pimpin, push, pedestrians, and other road end users. And so welcome to it for the next 45 minutes. I am your host and your presenter. This little ugly face of mine is always on your Facebook feed and that of your YouTube feed. It's all the voice has been heard on the online radio platforms. Martin Fagans is the name, that number one driver, that number one kicker guy, that number one pimpin guy. But let me just appreciate the efforts of my producer, that it's Ishmael Smith, the guy who anticipates his birthday in the not too distant future on the 3rd of May. I'd like to do it for him as a pre-birthday treat before going further. Without this guy's efforts, you won't be seeing us on your Facebook feeds and out of the YouTube feeds. And so welcome to it right here. Quickly, let me just say good afternoon to each and every one of you stuck up in that traffic and listening to ABC Radio, and the program is Traffic Talk. If you're a regular motorist, always having this program aired within your moving objects, I'd like to say salut, bienvenue, as in welcome to another presentation. Matter of fact, this edition and this presentation is dedicated to my father and my mom, in person of the Right Reverend George Amos Fagans and Mother Jessie P. Fagans. George Amos Fagans, the chief, the judge of the probate court there in Carisburg District, and also serving as the head pastor at the Lagbasi Community Church. We turned 31 years of being together. That's a milestone, right? And so today's edition has been dedicated to two of them as to celebrate another milestone in their holy matrimony. And so quickly, just to have you been abreast what's going to be unfolding on today's edition. As usual, we bring you our theme song, currently been played, followed by our driving quotation for the day, bringing you some driving safety tips, speaking to the consciousness of our motorists, street vendors, and other road end users. And we take a different thread on the program every time. We bring you up to speed to the traffic build-up within your area to prepare yourselves before you get there. And so we'll take that start quickly. Let's start with the Roberts International Highway. You know, often at times you see drivers flying on that road as if to say they are running to go to heaven. But the road construction work has been done there, so we have to speak to the consciousness of our drivers flying the spots of Liberia, using that road to get to Habel and also to connect to Buchanan. Please be patient. Observe off-traffic routes. Also make sure if you are driving those long distances, please don't be on the influence of alcohol and high-end drugs. And to our street vendors, this one selling in the middle of the road, we know life is hard and the quest of success is intense, and this generation have produced lots of entrepreneurs, that which I've agreed with. But at the same time, your life is so precious. Whenever you are selling within the middle of the road, remember one thing: put in the back of your consciousness that your life matters. Only you yourself can preserve it. And how do you do so? To be extra careful and to know a timing as to when to go in between cars to go about selling those commodities you wish to sell to passengers and other road end users. So be extra careful. And so if you're headed towards the Bourgeois Island from downtown central Monrovia, know that you're going to be headed towards the traffic around the Gabriel Tarkus Bridge, the new bridge as we call it. The traffic leaves from the Johnson Street down to the Tarkus Bridge and connects to Bourgeois Island till Claratown. The reason it's that way because of the H&H trucks that also park along the way, and the smaller intersection that leads connects with the Dual Community Beckubel Avenue that leads to Gardnersville. So there's always a go slow at that point. There's a go slow there, and also at the Freeport area. The reason is because of the road, the deplorable condition of the road within those areas. So brace yourself and be patient as a driver or as a passenger, okay? Let's bring it up to speed to around the 20th Street area. There's always this traffic buildup around the JFK back route. Yeah, the back road for the JFK that goes to the back gate of JFK. Not the main entrance that is on the opposite the Lucky Pharmacy. The one I'm talking about is where we have the street lights being erected just before the back row of Airfield. So make sure you brace yourself. There's this build up between 18th, 19th, and 20th Street, depending on how long the queue is. So if you are there and headed towards Painesville and other parts like Old Road and Airfield, know that you are headed towards a traffic. There is this go slow around the 72nd Boulevard and the main Tubman Boulevard that connects EOW Junction. Reason is we are all aware that development brings a lot of adjustment within our shift in our schedule, and so the road construction is one of these factors. There's this huge work being done around the EOWA, trying to beautify our own country and connect our roads better. And so brace yourself for this traffic congestion around the Tiller House, Ministry of Health, Boulevard Junction, crossing towards EOW, SD Copo, and AB Tower Road. There's the go slow. There is also another go slow show in case you are using the AB Tower Road to branch out from the Prince Ely Johnson Avenue towards the Duperow Junction. As we call, it's a Houghton Avenue, I think. There is this traffic and a go slow there because there's a parking being erected there by drivers wanting to get passengers ahead to town. So there's a go slow there as well. There is this mini go slow on the feeder road that has not been completed around the Jehovah's Witnesses area there in the Painesville area, Watchtower. Be patient. Motorists, motorcyclists, as in motorists in general should be more careful. And with specific reference to our bikers within the sports, you guys are never patient. Patience is one of the greatest virtues in life. And once you have that, you can conquer all the stuff in life. There is a go slow around the Police Academy intersection because it has become a multi-crossing point of cars coming from the Police Academy trying to get on the red light highway to go towards Benson Clinic. And there's the thing about cars coming towards from Benson Clinic trying to branch out around the Police Academy or head towards Watchtower. Whatever route you are using, just know that be attentive, be slower, and observe all traffic rules. It's an intersection. It has become a multi-crossing intersection, so please be careful about how you go about approaching that part. There is a bit of a traffic around the Botnersville Junction at times because of the intersection there. So brace yourself for that. And there's the traffic around the Ominga Market, always at about this hour. So whenever you are headed towards those areas, note that it's not going to be a free flow. It's going to be a go slow. So those are our traffic updates. If you are headed those ways, know that get yourself a Grampy or something to mush on and be patient. Allow the driver to do his thing. So let's just take a breather, come back and bring you our driving quotation followed by our safety tips. And today we open up the phone lines. Fill us in with those issues within the traffic you care to bring to our attention. Stay tuned. From the album Timeless, OBO.
Trendy.
This one is called One for the Road on Traffic Talk.
Baby, tell me very honestly, This your loving, say na current me.
Live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broader Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 104.1.
Never confuse you, make you feel you're in love. No make I joke, no body go. And this your no be so. Now I won't make you go be go. My baby no use it go. Let me fall like a yo. If you tell me no story, baby my nana go be. But before you go,
Montserrat, Home, Cape Mount, Wapaloo, Mangibi, Home, and everywhere you go. This is ABC Radio 105.1 FM.
give me one for the road. Give me one for the road. Give me one for the road. So make we go corner, were. Keep you sending off, baby. Cause you one day outside, I'm never gonna hold you back. Cause if I come in, nobody fit to understand. Oh, no, be lie you for my body. It's okay, no try. No make I joke, go drop body, go. And this your no be so. Now I want make you go be go. My baby no use it go. Let me fall like a go. If you tell me no story, baby my nana go be low. But before you go, give me one for the road. Give me one for the road. Give me one for the road. But before you go now, give me one for the road. Give me one for the road. Give me one for the road.
live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broader Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 104.1.
Alright, welcome back. Before you go, give me one for the roads. A fine song there by Davido OBO from the album titled Timeless. Alright, the time check is 29 minutes on the flip side of 6 o'clock. Well, if you are just tuning in, a pleasant welcome to another edition of the program Traffic Talk. Traffic Talk, which is a regular feature presentation on ABC Radio, then brought to you through the kind courtesy of the program's departments here at the Atlantic Broadcasting Corporation. I am your presenter. Martin Fagan is my name. Quickly, let's just read out the driving quotation. And so, one moment of patience may ward off great disaster. One moment of impatience may ruin a whole life. Are you paying attention, drivers? I told you earlier on, patience is the greatest virtue, right? And so our driving quotation today is just in line with what I told you earlier. One moment of patience may ward off great disaster, as in take away trouble, problems, and accidents within the traffic, or taking of lives and destroying of properties. But one moment of impatience, when you don't have patience, that one moment of not being patient may ruin a whole life. It might take lives. It might destroy properties. It might put you in extra expenses. So never be in that very hectic mood to get those report monies or to get to the destination so swiftly. Being patient saves lives and property and gets you there in one piece. And like somebody said to me last night, not in pieces. So you as a driver always learn to exercise patience. It's one of the greatest virtues of life. With that, you can conquer all things. That's the saying I always say to people, he that endures patience is a conqueror. So as a driver, once you can endure patience and be patient, you can do all things by becoming a better driver. Sometimes the best therapy is long drive and good music. You know what I mean, right? You know, music is a natural therapy for the human body and mind. And so driving on those long distances, this applies to our drivers driving those major long highways. Monrovia to Bung to Monrovia, Bung to Nima, Monrovia to Nima, wherever the distance you cover, once it's a very long highway. It's a natural therapy, you know, music ease the minds of you and your pedestrian and brings out that calmness within your people. So always learn to add music to your car, but don't make it so loud. Make it in a way that will be accommodating by others. Alright? So that's our driving quotation for the day. I'll recap them once more. One moment of patience may ward out, may take out a great disaster timing. I'll break it down like in English. One moment you have patience, when you just go slow and say, I will be patient, I will slow down every crosswalk, I will slow down at every intersection, I will slow down when I see students trying to cross from school, I will slow down when I see that pregnant lady coming from a hospital and wanting to be a part, wanting to cross the road. I, as a driver, will use that power given to me by the steering wheels to slow down. When you do that, you will avoid out disasters, accidents, and causing problems. But in the absence of that and being impatient, always in a haste, you find yourself always causing problems within the traffic. Motorcyclists, it also applies to you. Keke guys, it also applies to you. The absence of patience causes you disaster. With patience saves you disaster and accidents. So, you as a motorist, always learn to have patience and exercise patience. It's something that you need to try to apply to your driving and your riding attributes today. Sometimes the best therapy is a long drive and good music. Learn that. Whenever you're on those long drive and long distances drives, always learn to add music to your playlist. The reason is it saves you, it's a natural therapy for you and relaxes the mind. So let's now bring you our driving safety tips for today. And the first one says, beware of what other drivers around you are doing and expect the unexpected. It's called anticipating the driver ahead and predicting his or her move, or anticipating his mistake, meaning leaving space in your mind. You may be the good driver, your car, everything is in check. You have these reflexes. And you went to a driving school, right? You have all the edge that makes you a driver. But a good driver remembers one thing, leaving space for other mistakes. Other drivers and other motorists, especially nowadays, with the proliferation of motorcyclists and keke guys in our traffic sector, you as a good driver will leave space for their mistakes, knowing that they are always making mistakes and blaming on other people. So you as a driver will leave mistakes. At the same time, some drivers cause problem for motorcyclists and tricycle guys, because at times we often see them as not as being important as you because they are not in the vehicle like yours. But they are all motorists, and from one motorist to another, you have to protect the interests of them as well. They are not your competitors. They are all aiding and helping each and every one of us to get from one point to another. So learn to slow down too as a driver to help them too. And as a keke guy or pimping guy, at times learn to be different by helping people and helping other motorists. Adjust your seat mirrors and climate controls before putting the car in gear. You have to adjust your seat to be in a comfortable position that you'll be able to see 100 meters ahead and beneath your car. Adjusting your mirror has to do with you having eyes in the back, like your rear view mirror. It helps you to see what's in the back. Your side view mirror has to take consideration of the lanes and the road on the side, or to know and to predict a driver trying to overtake or get so close to your beamer or your bumper. You have the eyes on the sides to make sure that. So whenever you don't adjust them properly, at times your calculation and your judgment may be different and wrong. So always make sure to adjust them properly before heading out from your current position. Always use caution when changing lanes, cutting in front of someone, changing lane too fast, or not using your signals may cause an accident or upset other drivers. That has happened a couple of times in my present. Especially you find these things happening often at times on these major boulevards, these two-lane roads, like the Tottenham Boulevard that leads from St. Paul to EOW. The JPM freeway has been uniquely built, so these things don't really happen. By the time you see guys switching lanes, we're all traffic hitting. And the traffic light there, the signal light there, is another form of communication between you and the driver behind you or the guy before you. So always learn to use caution. That is, before you switch a lane, check in your rear side view mirror and see, verify. And then before you switch, communicate with the driver behind or before you by switching on your trafficating light. With that being done, it's a sign of communication that I am switching lanes or I'm making a turn. That will send a signal and a message to the guy before to prepare or adjust his speed. Don't attempt to retrieve items that fall to the floor while driving. Take for instance, you are driving and then you are having this phone and it fall where we got the marks. The time you will bend down and think that you can hold the steering to look up and get that marks will endanger your life and that of your passengers and pedestrians and other road end users. Pull over to eat or drink. It takes only a few seconds. We are all humans, and these are things that are inevitable to life. You must eat, you must drink, regardless of your job description. So if you are a driver driving, and at times you get thirsty, I know you may feel like you're so good, you have that confidence of being a good driver, you have those reflexes, but please, life mistakes at times it's not always often from your side. Could be that of somebody else. Take an incident, right? You drink, you're trying to eat a Grumpy, right? Before you peel that Grumpy, your eyes have to go down. That 1 to 10 seconds could cause a problem. So just tell your passengers, which are all humans, so brother and sister, yeah, please bear with me 5 minutes. I just want to eat this snack or drink this water, please. You are a human. If they don't agree, give them money and let them go, because you have to do these things as a person. So those are our driving safety quotation, our tips. Let's speak to the consciousness of our pedestrians and passengers. You as passenger, this is my advice to you. Whenever you're in a car and there's a traffic, please advise the driver or the operator properly. Let him learn to stay in the queue. There is no such thing as the third lane. It's an opposite lane. It's wrong. If you are so much in rush, make use of the pimping as in the motorcycle. If you are a pedestrian crossing the road, make sure you look left or right through in case there is no crosswalk then erect at the area you're crossing. Look left, right, check properly and see there is no car within the area in which you want to cross, and then you can cross. If you're on the crosswalk, don't think the crosswalk is there and the driver, once he sees you, he will automatically stop. Communicate with the driver, let him give you the go ahead to cross. In as much as it's your right to cross at that point, you must be given the permission for the police traffic officer, show in case there is one assigned there, or let the driver sees you and recognizes you and give you the permission to cross, which of course will be the right thing to be done. And so our drivers learn to respect the visually impaired. The reason I always stress on this, I have a colleague who is always using this means to get to work. And there are lots of visually impaired people out there. The reason you help them because they are not like you, they are not been blessed with a sight like you. So that doesn't make you better than them. So as a driver, whenever you see a blind man with the cane raising and waving it, please be very responsible enough always to learn to aid the blind and the disabled and those senior citizens that are not so physically fit like you. Those vulnerable ones has to do with senior citizens, visually impaired, even the bubble man at times. You wouldn't know he's a bubble person, but at times observe. And make sure you're at the crosswalk and being recognized by the driver before using the crosswalk. Aid students that are crossing from one point to another. As a driver, it's necessary that child could be your sister's son, your own kids, or a niece or a nephew. If all you just don't slow down and respect the crosswalk rules, what's going to happen? You're going to take the life of your own niece or nephew, and when you get home, the family would not be happy with you. It couldn't be even your own family or not. When you show this distinction within the driving sector, people will say that is a respected and a disciplined driver, and that'll be an added plus to you. So respect all traffic rules, respect the police guide, the traffic guide. This morning I noticed something I can show a light on. And this happened at the Oro intersection, not the Cali Junction, but the main Oro intersection at the playground. This police officer, she's a very calm person, pulled this guy over because he was driving all license plates, which of course is illegal to be done under our Liberian law. She pulled him over, regardless of your connections in law. That person is at the assigned area, and they have all necessary right to pull you over. All you have to do is just get down, find out from the officer what is the reason you're pulling me over, and be very, very, very much nice. And the person too, sometime might let you go. But the time you tend to argue with the police officer and try to call those in authorities, we are not respecting the officers. Just take for example, will you do that in other African countries to their officers? No, you wouldn't. Will you do that in Europe to other traffic officers? No, we wouldn't. So let's learn to respect our traffic officers being charged with the responsibilities to regulate and officiate traffic issues within this country. And so with that being said, let's quickly recap our driving quotation for the day, recapping our safety tapes, and then calling it a day. One moment of patience may ward off great disasters. One moment of impatience may ruin a whole life. So always learn to be patient as a driver, as a motorist. It helps you save lives and property. Sometimes the best therapy for a long drive is good music. Those of you driving the long distances, always learn to have music in your car because it helps aid you. Our safety tip says, be aware of what other drivers around you are doing and expect the unexpected. Always predict and anticipate their movement, and it saves you from all other problems within the traffic. Adjust your seats, mirror, and climate control before putting your car in gear. Always use caution when changing lanes, cutting in front of someone. Changing lanes too fast or not using all your signal may cause an accident or upset other drivers. Don't attempt to retrieve items that fall to the floor whenever you are driving. That is distraction, and it's not something acceptable being done for drivers or motorists. Pull over to eat or drink. It takes only a few seconds or minutes. And on that note, folks, we draw down the curtains on today's presentation. And today's presentation has been dedicated to the Judge of the Probate Court, the Right Reverend George Amos M. Figgins, and Reverend Mother Jessie B. Figgins, who celebrates 31 years of holy matrimony today. We have it says from all of your kids, a big one from the Traffic Talk program right here. Our listener of the day has to do with Michael Carrett of the Buffalo Radio here at the King's Building. On that note, my name is Martin Figgins, your number one driver. Say make sure you wear your seatbelt, drive with care, respect all rules, the crosswalk, the blind people. I'll talk to you tomorrow evening. Stay tuned. Goodbye. Live from the King's Building in Monrovia, Broad and Buchanan Street, this is
ABC 105.1 FM.
Rovia, oh Rovia. Yes, Rovia Logistics is back. Have you been looking for a one-stop shop to rent and hire machineries of all types? Look no further. Rovia Logistics Incorporated is the answer. Rovia Logistics has wide range of machines like dump trucks to haul your sand, red dye, crush rocks, and boulder rocks.
As for your construction needs, do not worry. Rovia Logistics have all sizes of yellow machines to meet your desire. They have machines like bulldozers, compactors, excavators, forest machines, backhoes, and many more.
The interesting part is you get to hire them hourly, daily, or monthly, and